Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out, and for those who don't know, my name is David Raines, and I'm the Fire Chief here in Clayton. And I get the distinguished honor today to recognize Tony for all he's done for this department, for this community, and for me, that's an honor today. But I want to start out by recognizing some guests. We have members of council here, members of the manager's office, Tony's family, which we'll get him to introduce here in a moment, co-workers, friends, retirees. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and share this special day with Tony. So Tony, if you want to start out just by recognizing your family that's here with us.
This afternoon, yeah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What am I supposed to do?
Recognizing your family. I got you.
I'd like to recognize my family for all that support. In front of me is my wife, Benita. Beside her is Tammy, my daughter-in-law, my son, Tony, too, and two of my three sisters, Sharon and Annetta, and, of course, Miss Gail. She was here with me for many years. That was my official work wife.
All right, good enough, man. We'll bring you back up shortly. Oh, absolutely. You're not done up here. So I put some thought in, how do we recognize Tony? And I don't know, at the end of the day, I'm the best one for this because I've probably got the shortest tenure here than anybody else. For the last 7 months, I've had the honor and opportunity of working with Tony, and I've learned a lot from him. I've learned what type of individual he is, and we'll talk about that as we go along. But I was able to go and look at Tony's personnel file because I think you can learn a lot about a person and their career when you take the time to see what they've been recognized for, what their background is. And so I've got a few pieces of information here that I'll share with you about Tony. So Tony is a Clayton resident, has been for most all of his life. Graduated from Clayton Elementary School and Clayton High School. In 1973, November of 1973, he enlisted and served in the United States Navy, where he served from November of 1973 to December of 1993. And during that time, he was stationed at Miramar, California. Raise your hand if you know anything about Miramar. What do you start hearing when I say that word? Top Gun. Yeah, that's where the movie Top Gun was filmed at. It represented Miramar, California, where they had a Top Gun school at. So Tony had the honor of serving in that community for most of your career, I assume. Okay, and while he was in the Navy, he served primarily as an electrician. In May 13th of 1994, he was recognized as Sailor of the Year within his group. So I think that speaks volumes about what I've come to learn about Tony and his work ethic and his commitment to the community. Once he retired from the Navy, he sought employment with the Town of Clayton. May 31st, 1994, he was hired as a electrician? Lineman, as a lineman. And so you remember who the town manager was then? So the job offer said Robert Hyatt was the town manager. And that's probably been many since then, okay? Do you remember what your starting pay was? A little bit more than that. $15,770.17 was his starting salary in 1994. Come a long way since then. In June of '94, he applied to be a volunteer with the Clayton Fire Department, and so he was accepted as a member. And in November of 1996, he applied for and was transferred to the fire department full time from the electric department. Does that sound right? All right. So Tony was the first full-time employee that Chief Barbie was able to hire and work for the fire department full-time. So that's, it's kind of like the cornerstone of the fire department there, man. You come here, I think I was talking to Lee earlier, and he says, you'd work here right by yourself while he was still running his part-time business or his full-time business. So in that capacity, you were hired as a fire inspector and captain. Does that sound right? And your pay then was $25,992. So you got you a little jump in pay by coming to the fire department. In April of 22, you earned your fire inspector level 1. And in 2002, he was appointed as the first fire marshal for the Clayton Fire Department. Through those many years, he served in several capacities within the fire department, including firefighter, captain, fire inspector, battalion chief, fire marshal, and deputy fire chief. On 3 different occasions, he was nominated for Employee of the Year by his peers. That was in 1999, 2004, and 2013. And so I'll open up the floor shortly for anybody who wants to come up here and share some memories, have a little bit of a roast, if they will, and we'll see how that works out. I was asked recently to provide a quote as far as my experience with Tony for the last couple of months. And so, my quote was, in my short time of working with Tony, I have observed an unwavering dedication to the community's safety. Tony is deeply committed to collaborating with both citizens and business owners to reduce the incidence of fire, injury, and fatalities. His approach to administering the fire code is both appropriate and consistent, ensuring that all safety standards are met without compromise. Tony understands the importance of first building relationships and then application of the fire code. His expertise and steadfast commitment make him an invaluable asset to our team and our community. And I think that's one thing I've learned from Tony is more than anything is just the importance of relationships. I mean, like I say as the fire chief, that's the biggest thing I do is build relationships, right? With coworkers, with mutual aid partners, with county partners, with state partners, But like he has taken it to the next level. Like he builds that relationship with business owners, and then he can administer the fire code. And when he does that, it's not like he's beating them over the head with the fire codes, because he has that relationship with them. And I think that's critically important for any fire marshal to be effective to be able to do that. There was a letter of recommendation for him in his file from Calvin Neal, Chief Aviation Electrician's Mate. You remember Calvin? And this right here really sums up Tony to me, and I'm going to read it to you. He says, in my 14 years in the military, I've never encountered a harder working, more professional person than Anthony Atkinson. During his 2-year tenure as my leading petty officer and senior F-14 instructor, Tony's performance of his duties were nothing short of superb. He was the epitome of a technician, leader, and manager, exercising tremendous forethought in the execution of tasks both assigned and assumed. Anthony was highly respected throughout the entire leadership chain, including his peers and juniors. He has an outstanding working relationship, and his retirement was a huge loss felt throughout this command. Tony consistently demonstrates the highest respect and loyalty of his superiors, never hesitating when directed to accomplish a task. Because of the tremendous respect we have for this man, any suggestions on improving the daily business routine within the command were always highly considered. With Tony present, my division was pretty much on auto because of his ability to handle any given situation extremely well. In other words, he practically worked me out of a job. I very seldom had to intervene in any situation, and he was adamant about keeping me abreast of all divisional issues daily. Tony never hesitates to ask questions about unfamiliar areas, never made decisions without first considering all options, resulting in sound judgment with predictable, outstanding outcomes. Without hesitation, I would strongly recommend Anthony Atkinson to any position within your organization, but his skills will be most beneficial to you in positions of leadership and management, as I am sure you'll find out when you employ him. You'll be receiving a high-caliber, dedicated individual. In a short period of time, he'll soon become an invaluable asset to your business as he was with the United States Navy in this command. And I think that right there speaks volumes about Tony and his dedication to the job and to this community. Tony basically come into this department, did what was asked him to do, and really built the fire marshal's office from the ground up. Because when he come here, there wasn't a fire marshal, but yet there was a need for one. And so he was given the trust and the confidence to do that. And because of that, we have the fire marshal's office that we have today. I say let's all give Tony a round of applause while all he's done. All right. And with that, I'm going to call up Lee Barber. He has a few words. There you are.
No. So I had 2 pages. David's narrated to 1 page. I'm going to skip some of it. Thank you, David. I had the opportunity a while ago to felt good for a change, something I realized. David said, "Where's Nathaniel? I need Nathaniel." I said, "I know where he's at. I'll go find him." He said, "I need the music cut down so I can start." So I went to Nathaniel. I said, "The fire chief needs you to turn the music down." Been a long time since I've been able to say that. So David covered Tony's time coming in to coming back from the Navy, coming to Clayton, joining the Town of Clayton Electric Department, and at the same time joining the fire department as a volunteer. 2 years later, he was hired as full-time fire inspector, the first full-time fire inspector the fire department had. That was a result, in my opinion, of the Hamlet chicken plant fire that happened in the early 90s. That changed the fire service, North Carolina and nationally, but mainly in North Carolina, a lot of OSHA regulations that changed during that time. Fire Marshal's office worked with OSHA and made a lot of changes in North Carolina for the fire service. So it gave the Town of Clayton, I think, the momentum we needed to create the fire inspector position in the fire department. Prior to that, it was under the inspection department, but it was not a full-time program. So timing was right. Joe Hester, Joe was here the year before. Joe started as a part-time fire inspector. Joe went on to be a full-time inspector for the town, and that opened the door for the position that Tony filled as the new fire inspector for the fire department. And that's, as David was telling you earlier, Tony built the program. There was no guide for us at that time. It was just Tony took it, I took it. We worked with other leadership in the town, the building inspectors at the time. I say Duke Hockaday here. We took, Robert came in at that time, along about that same time, Robert Yarborough, but Tony used his resources, and that's what we did a lot of times in the fire department back then. You use your resources and you build a program, and that's what it is today. Throughout your career, Tony, you have navigated constant change and with resistance and adaptability. I say that because David mentioned a while ago all the positions you held. There was a lot of change during that time as we were growing. You probably have more helmet shields than anybody in this fire department, because your title and your helmet shield changed through those years as we changed. I never noticed your demeanor. You was always a team player. You always went with that flow and figured out, okay, how do we make the best of this? We always found the positive in it to move it forward. So for that, you have been undoubtedly a team player, contributing not only to the fire department, but to our community. You know I got to carry this one through to you. You always remind me. I would be remiss not to mention one memorable moment that stands out. That is your gracious act of chauffeuring the fire chief back to the parade, back to the fire station, parade style, Mayor, parade style in your Crown Vic sedan after the West Main Street fire. Your gesture is just one example of your camaraderie, your dedication, and your respect for the command. Thank you, brother. As you reflect on your years of service, know that your efforts have made a significant impact to everybody in this room, everybody in this community. Thank you, Tony, for your tireless work and your leadership and your commitment to the safety and well-being of our community.
All right, I'll recognize the mayor.
First of all, I think it's important to let everybody know when the chief introduced Lee Barbie, Ruth Anderson looked at me and said, "He's going to cry." And I said, "I got $20 that says he doesn't get emotional. So I'll pay you when this is over with." Tony, on behalf of the town of Clayton, we and the Clayton Town Council, citizens of Clayton, we thank you so much for all your leadership and your hard work and your efforts for our community. And during today, I have also found that in 1984, well, let me read back. Today, I found out that in 2024, the mayor's salary is equivalent to Tony's starting salary in 1994. Okay, just making sure, okay. He has been so good to us. And you know, there were times, and I'm sure he could write a book about the expressions that he has seen on business owners' faces when he walked in the door. Mine looked like this. And you know, you automatically want to like get his mind off what he's there to do, because we have boxes stacked to the ceiling and it's not in fire code. And if you had to bring a fireman with a hose down my hallway, he would have to do like this to get in between stuff. But Tony was always gracious and kind, and he would say, maybe you need to take some of these boxes away from the ceiling, or maybe you need to open up this hallway a little bit more. But I'm sure there's a lot of stories you could tell about owners when the fire marshal comes in and everybody's like, whew, you know. What you have contributed to the town of Clayton is incomparable. And we are truly appreciative for all the hard work and the leadership that you have provided. And in my 21 years of being the mayor, I have never been able to say this, but I can say it today. Congratulations on your retirement, and we'll see you back in 31 days.
That's good. That's real good. Yeah, so I agree. You know, is that Tony really the leadership he's demonstrated. You know, in just my little bit of time here. Every morning, he comes in with a smile on his face. I don't think once I've ever seen him frown. I don't think once I've seen him, you know, in 7 months here of being, you know, not ready to be at work. So I don't know what you're going to do Monday morning. You know, we're here. We've got coffee. You can feel free to stop by. You're in that rut, man. 31 years of coming here every day. So you know, we'll be here. So now I want to open the floor up to anybody who would like to, you know, maybe you know, talk about some times you've had with Tony, maybe some stories, maybe some roast. You know, anybody want to come up to the microphone and share any stories you may have with Tony?
Good afternoon. I'm Tony's baby sister. I'm a big baby, but anyway, bruh, I am so proud of you. The only person missing today is our mother. When she was employed by Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue, and I'm gonna tell you something. That thing there, I know my mama loved me and my sisters, but that was her heart. You can ask his wife, you can ask Tony too, his grandson, and plus Tony's wife and my sister. And y'all know all this good stuff about him, but let me tell you a little bad side of him. I'm the baby. Anyway, he used to love to watch the wrestling, you know, with Brute Bernard and all the old crew or whatever. So I go get my eyebrows waxed. And so Ming Ling's husband, he say, when he get ready to do this brow, he say, "What happened?" Well, my brother took and he put me in something like a sleeper hole, and and my head hit the floor. So anyway, that's another side of him. And another thing, we don't have any Clayton police officers in here, do we? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I don't even know who the officer was back then, but I was traveling Little Creek Church Road, and my God, I got a lead foot. I was going probably, I can tell it, I don't think it was you. I was going about 55 in a 35. Now, you know that's 20 miles over the speed limit. The officer gets out of the car, And he says, "You see your driver's license and registration." I said, "Tony's my brother." I said, "Tony, my brother." Hey, y'all can laugh, but it worked. It worked. I said, "My brother got some clout. Look at that. Bro got some clout. He saved me." But bro, I love you. It's time for you to sit your old, ain't no preachers in here, your old ass down somewhere and enjoy life. God bless you.
You know, Tony's my go-to for a lot of things. I've been around town a good while. I'm not going to tell you how long, but I've been around a long time. And when I see something wrong in the community, Lord, it's like calling 911. I have Tony on speed dial. Tony, this pole's down. I don't think it should be down like this, Tony. Okay, Lisa, I'll come check it out. Tony, I see these flames coming out of this pipe over here. I just don't know about it, and they're close to these fire tanks over here on 70. Okay, listen, I can explain that. That's just kind of a runoff for the flames. So stay around, because I'm a concerned citizen, and I'll call me a crazy lady too, just like you will, but you won't tell nobody. I know you won't. I love you for being there for our community, for us, for everybody. The smiling face that comes in that State Employees Credit Union, we love to see you. And we'll continue to see you and all our other firemen. We love seeing you guys. And so I may not wait for the 31 days. If I see something wrong, you're on my speed dial. So just be watching for me.
I had 6 pages, but they took 5 of them. I'd just like to say it's been a pleasure working with everybody. I did do my best to make a working relationship with all of you, and you know who you are. I tried to hit every department. It's much better for the community if we all work together and talk to each other. I'd like to also acknowledge my wife and family again for that support. I know I missed the many dinners like everybody else have. I was never home for the first 10 years. It's kind of like being in the Navy. I was always at this fire department doing something, just like today.
Working to the last minute.
Get the last drop of blood. But we got a lot of new and upcoming firemen out there that's gonna bring new leadership to this place. Because when I started, Lee and I started in the dungeon up the street with the purple curtains. I swear there was rats in that big as armadillos. And look what we have today. I'm so proud that I could be a part of this and the community. Like they mentioned, my greatest accomplishment to me is I did do a lot of communication with the business people, trying to make it easy, because Lord knows they used to run like roaches when I showed up. I can't tell you how many kids I taught fire safety and what the fire department did in this community. I know they're at least 20 years old now, plus. But I did that for about 5 years by myself, through the community, churches, senior citizens. I did them all just to help them out be safe, as well as it reduced calls for us. So I'm happy to do that. And the last thing I can say is I enjoyed it. I still enjoy it. I hate to leave it, but it's time to me and Benita to take another cruise. 31 days. We got to cram a lot in 31 days. I appreciate all the support you gave me. I really do. And I'll miss you. It's been a wonderful career for me. And it's not ended yet. But I appreciate everybody stopping by, all your words of encouragement and the stories. It means a lot. And I thank you.
You want to do your helmet and your shadow box.
Okay.
All right. So in the fire service, like with the police department, I think their guns kind of their personal weapon. With the fire department, it's kind of our helmet. It's kind of our shield. And so with that, I'd like to present Tony with his helmet that he can take with him when he retires. There you go.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir. Yep. And then along with that, I'd like to present Tony his shadow box. And so this serves as all the ranks that he served with badges in the fire department. And so it reads, honoring Anthony Tony Atkinson. Thank you for 30 years of faithful and dedicated service to the Clayton Fire Department, presented May of 2024.
Just in closing, I'm Rich Capola, town manager. I've had the privilege of working with Tony for the last 7 years. Learned a lot from Tony. Been able to really see how he's had an impact throughout this community, as well as our organization. I think Chief and Tony even kind of mentioned it too in his comments. If you look around the room here, you may be a member of the fire department, but you're definitely a bigger part of the overall Clayton town family, because there's a lot of people here from a lot of different departments that have a lot of respect for you, because you were just that kind of guy throughout your years that you were here, with the relationships you built and trying to bring everybody together. And I can't thank you more for that, because we need more of that throughout our organization and throughout the community, because that's really what brings us together and allows us to be the great public servants that we look for. I'm going to keep it all above board, because I do expect to see you in 31 days. Maybe 32. We'll give you a little extra. But overall, to your family, thank you very much for sharing Tony with us all these years. Understand that it is difficult with having to miss dinners, miss birthdays, miss a lot of different events throughout the years, but the overall greater community has benefited from that time from him. So we thank you very much for all that time that you've shared him with us, and enjoy your 31 days, sir. Appreciate it.